Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to our stream. We're back again for 2022 doing author interviews. Just wait for people to come along to the chat. I'll introduce myself while we wait. So for anyone new, I am Angeli. I am the marketing and publicity manager for Aconite Books. I had to think then what my title was. And I do these every fortnight, if you're American, bi-weekly, to talk about the books that are coming out, which is very exciting. And we've got loads of lovely books. And today we have the lovely Evan Dicken here to talk about the new Legend of the Five Rings book. Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yay. Wonderful. Well, yes. So people who are new to your books, because this is your first novel with us. Who are you? Why are you writing for Aconite?
Well, my name is Evan Dicken. Why am I writing for Aconite? It's because the lovely Lottie Llewellyn-Wells, I originally was, I still write for Black Library, but she was my editor. She's the one who sort of picked me out of the chaff of the scrum of the literary subgenre scuffle and said, hey, do you want to come and write for Black Library? So I said, oh, heck yeah. I've been a big fan of Black Library my whole life. And, some of my first books, I actually got into a car wreck because I was arguing about, I think, Inferno #2 with my brother. And so it goes back deep. But I've been writing for Black Library. And then Lottie came over to Aconite via Angry Robot. And I was just sort of trolling the forums because they were putting out a lot of really interesting books. And I said, hey, wait, they do Legend of the Five Rings. I've got a master's degree in Japanese history. I could probably do something like that. So I pitched it to her, and she was lovely enough to agree to it. So the rest, I guess, is on the page.
Yay. Oh, and the page is lovely. Let's look at the cover for this one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Amazing cover. I love it.
It is. I love all the green in it. Mark is not a fan of green on covers, but I love this very much. And I love that we've got in the background the two clan helmets going on there. That's, I forgot. Is it Scorpion Lion?
Yep.
Yes. I totally know what I'm doing. Yay. The art, for anyone interested in art, and you should be because our artists are amazing, it's done by Nathan Elmer. I put a link to it in the chat for you. Pop it up here on the screen as well. Nathan, go and check out his stuff. He's done some other work for us as well. And very, very lovely. Yay. So now we come into the nitty gritty of it. Tell us what this book is about, please.
I guess in a nutshell, I don't know, are we doing spoilers or are we just...
Try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible.
Okay. So I guess war, politics, and everybody caught in between would be the elevator pitch.
Yes, definitely. It focuses more on sort of the clan and politics rather than the sort of supernatural that most of our other books have been to. Okay, so do you actually have any experience with L5R?
This is my first time writing, but I would say I've played probably 3 sessions of L5R in my life. And I think I bought 2 or 3 booster packs for the card game at one point, but I have been reading L5R RPG books since I was, I want to say the 90s, 2nd edition. I've still got them somewhere around here in the newer editions, I think all the way through the current, current edition. So I enjoy reading about it. Because of my interests, I've always been a fan of samurai and the Sengoku period and sort of Japanese culture and history. So that's just sort of a perfect blending. I remember the first Clan War novels came out when I was in Japan for the first time, and I remember packing my suitcase to Japan full of like the Scorpion novel, the Crane novel, the Lion novel, and whatnot. And my mom going, "You need clothes," and I said, "No. Reading these in Japan is what I want to do." So I remember going over there to just, in Nagoya and just sitting there and in Japan reading the Nagoya castle, reading the Scorpion book and just being like, this is the coolest thing ever. This is, my life has peaked. This is as far as I go. Like, if I died now, I'd be happy. So I guess my interest goes back a long way.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I don't know what it is about RPG books, but yeah, I also just love reading them. I have a whole house full of them. I never get to play the games. I never
Yeah,
get to run the games, but I just love like picking them up then and just reading through the lore of these like different worlds.
yeah.
It's such a different thing to read in a novel. But yeah, I just love them.
Well,
So
actually,
many.
I read RPG books to go to sleep every night. So I read for maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, because if I read a novel, I get locked in on the plot and I stay awake. But if I'm reading an RPG, I can sort of dissociate and, just kind of start to imagine, then my eyes start to close and I fall asleep. So
Yeah.
it helps put me to sleep, but in a good way, not a bad way.
So, what sort of was your inspiration for this new story we've got coming out?
Oh, well, I have my degree is in the development of science in non-Western societies, focusing on Japanese cartography. So it was one of the several books that I pitched to Lottie, and she said, "Yeah, we can definitely use your background in this." And so the inspiration, I guess, would be, 10 years of graduate research into
Why did you go
maps.
into that particular sort of area of study?
I love maps. I like looking. It's the same thing with RPG books. Like I like to look at a map and sort of like imagine things, especially fantasy maps. Just imagining the places and the people who live there and whatnot. Some of my earliest memories are of just like opening up an atlas and just sort of paging through and just imagining. So I've always been interested in maps and Japanese history. So I just kind of smush those together. Unfortunately, Ohio State, Dr. Philip Brown is one of the leading experts in the development of cartography in Japan. So I was just able to sort of go right there since I'm based in Ohio and never left. So
Ah,
here I am.
oh, that's very cool. Yeah, I also love maps, and I have like loads and loads of books about like old like
Uh-huh.
English maps and just like all the weird things that they would put on them, like sea serpents and things, and
Yeah.
you'd be like, it's like, oh, they thought they saw sea serpents there, and it just like, yeah, cool. I've got like one that's like called like maps for places that didn't exist, and it's all maps from history from places
Mhm.
that actually didn't exist. It's just someone made it up or got it wrong, and it's
Yeah.
really fascinating books. Yeah,
No, it was fun to research all those because I mean those appear on Japanese maps as well. There's like the island of cannibal women and things like that. That just the island of gold and stuff like that. And my research specifically focuses on Hokkaido, the northernmost Japanese island, and Sakhalin, which I guess Russia owns now. So it's interesting to see. I specifically focused on how this place went from somewhere imaginary to somewhere real, and how the Japanese mapped this, and the sort of how it fed into the political and military. I mean, Japan and Russia still haven't declared peace from World War II. They're still technically at war over these islands, and every once in a while, a Japanese fishing boat will go up there, and the Russians will kill them. So, it's it feeds into the modern day
yeah,
stress that we're feeling, I guess.
yes, definitely, especially right at this moment. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So, can you let's go a little bit deeper into the book? So, without like big spoilers, like what can people expect from for this story?
Uh, I would say darkly textured political drama, which is my favorite thing to write. So a lot of politics and backstabbing and betrayal and a woman trying to find her place and her understanding of how the sort of vagaries and vicissitudes of court life and the clans work, because there's a lot of sort of moving pieces, and she needs to find and navigate. And well, this will lead into I assume you'll ask about her next, but just just how to become. I mean, how to become somebody who is able to both do what you want and uh, get people to do what you want, I guess, would be how
Yes.
she ends up. So
Yeah, and you're right. My next question is going to be about our main character. So
mhm.
is it Mia
Mia,
Maya
yeah,
Mia Isami? Tell us a
hmm
little bit more about Mia Isami.
she's kind of an ingenue. She's sort of the intellectual dream where she got to sort of pursue her interest, which is maps, obviously, and with a patron protecting her. And it's sort of, the book starts when she's sort of like, gently pushed out of the nest, and she's this intellectual. So she's like, knowledge conquers all. I'm right, so I'll be able to convince everybody. And so she kind of, blows that, and that sort of sends her spiraling into this nested court drama and the clan politics and whatnot, where she sort of has to come into her own, both as not only an intellectual and a scholar, but also a noble. Nobles are in this really interesting position in Rokugan because they are technically above everybody, but at the same time they're weaker than everybody. I mean, the various, the Otomo and the Miya and the Seppun are small compared to the great clans. So the great clans technically follow their orders, but at any time the lion could just say, "No, we're not going to listen to you." But, and they do. I mean, the farther you get from Otosanuchi and whatnot. So I think that was fun to do, to put her in situations where technically all these people have to listen to her, but she outranks them. But at the same time, if one of them wanted to disappear her, they could.
Yeah.
So there's that real and the status thing. So
she's pretty naive, as it were, towards like the clan and court politics. But those politics things are like a key mechanic within the L5R RPG. There is obviously the sorcery side and the supernatural, but a lot of, especially from my experience playing it and talking to other L5R players, is that like the intrigue and the court politics is actually like their favorite part of it, trying to remember where you stand in society and where other people are in society in relation to you. How do you sort of take game mechanics and put them into the story so that for fans of the RPG, it will feel sort of familiar to them?
It's a really good question. Well, I read the RPG books a lot. So I think that it was actually pretty fun to do that because especially like the Courts of Stone book, they talk a lot about protocol and bonds, and then just worked into the basic L5R mechanics, so like the status, glory, and honor, thing like that. So it was sort of, I mean, Isami is sort of a PC in that she starts sort of low. She's high status because she's from the Imperial family, but she's got she sort of has to build these bonds and follow this protocol and sort of take hits to advance her cause. And she sort of comes to it's like basically reading through the RPG book and sort of coming to understand those yourself. Like, oh, here's what I need to do here, and this will cause me to lose a bit of glory, but at the same time will increase my status and will allow me to forge a bond with this very important NPC that I have to get something from. So that's pretty fun. And I mean, like I said, I'm very interested in court drama and politics and things like that. So I'd say that the system was incredibly supportive to the novel I wanted to write.
Yay! Oh, that's good. Yeah, because I think that's something that is sometimes like for fans of, because obviously we these books are for everyone. We want to make sure that the fans of the games get a little bit out of it, get those Easter eggs, get that feel for the stories. It's good to know that like the mechanics of the games are taken in when we're doing a time novel like this, which is very, very exciting for me. Okay, so the story is sort of set around a land dispute between Scorpion and Lion. Why did you choose these two clans for it? Do you have any particular love for these clans, or
I love all the great clans, first of all, but I chose them first because there hasn't been a novel written about them, like specifically focusing on them. And there's been some short stories and novellas and whatnot, but I felt there was like a space for them to sort of explore them. But at the same time, they're sort of very, very similar and very different clans. The Lion are very sort of, they like to be seen as straightforward. They like to be seen as respectable. They're very military and very button up and whatnot. Whereas the Scorpion are sort of, I don't want to say underhanded, but underhanded. And both of them claim to be serving the Empire in different ways. The Lion is sort of its strong right arm, and the Scorpion as in their best moments, they say, we're doing the things that you don't want to be dirtied doing. So the Scorpions sort of work behind scenes and whatnot, and they're less straightforward. Well, they're less open about what they're doing than say the Crane clan. And the Lion are sort of more self-important than the Crab Clan. So it was fun to sort of take that both clans are arrogant in their own way, and to take sort of the lion bullishness and the scorpion saying, well, actually, we do a lot more for the empire than you do, and sort of put them against each other. And also, they're relatively close together on the map, and maps being politics. It was interesting to us explore, like, oh, hey, the scorpion are all south of this mountain except for these couple places that they now control, and the lion are concerned. Scorpion, it's very concerning to have Scorpion clan on your borders because you never know what they're up to. So that's really why I chose the clans. And it was they also both gave me room to sort of explore secondary characters, like the two representatives, Shinzo and Keisuke, are. I would say that they're in some ways a very clear representation of the clan they come from, but also I tried to sort of play with that a little bit and subvert expectations. But I don't want to go too deeply into that because it gives away some twists in the novel.
Yes, let's not do that. So, what was your favorite scene to write?
The betrayals. My favorite scene probably are the ones where Isami is trying to grapple with somebody pushing boundaries on her, or she has transgressed protocol or societal norms in a way that blows back on her, and she doesn't understand it first, but then it becomes very evident to her, or somebody tells her like explicitly, hey, you messed up in this way, and she sort of like has to internalize that. And I think it's really fun to play with a character who thinks they're doing the right thing, but is told they're doing the wrong thing, but they know they're doing the right thing, and they're trying to push back against a society that won't necessarily give. So it's about her trying to find a workaround. So I think those were fun, but I don't want to talk about the specific betrayals.
No. Was she also your favorite character to write, or was there anyone else that you just enjoyed writing their voice?
I would say actually Miya I enjoyed a lot, but I'd say Otomo, the person who sends her on her initial mission, this Otomo lord, he's sort of this. He's playing. Isami is still trying to understand the ins and outs of court, and he's like 3 steps ahead, already playing like 4-dimensional chess with everybody. But at the same time, he's sort of. I don't want to call him a sociopath, but I want to call him like somebody who has taken his personal feelings and just sort of buttoned them all the way up or put them in a box so that he can be the most effective at what he's planning on doing. So he was a really fun character to write.
Sounds scary. In a good way. So, what were the biggest challenges? So we talked about how you use the game mechanics, but there are always challenges with writing time fiction. What would you say was like your biggest challenge taking that gaming world of Rokugan and creating a novel from it? And how do you overcome that?
I'd say the biggest challenge was wanting to put too much in. That's always the key, both in the politics, the Rokugani politics, because the story's set, before the Scorpion coup. So wanting to like sort of, oh, well, this caused this, and this did this, and this person was talking about this, and to get too far in the weeds, and then also on the flip side of that, putting too much of my academic background in, because Isami's big coup is that she discovers, she rediscovers triangulation, and sort of moves and trying to move Rokugani mapping from the realm of art and representation into sort of the scientific, more arithmetically based sphere. And so I'd say the difficulty was trying to work in explanations of triangulation and how cartographers measure things, or how they did in early modern and medieval Japan, how they did measure things without it getting too dense. And whether I succeeded or not is 100% up to the readers. I hope it doesn't bore you, but I've gotten some good reviews where they said that the cartography was actually their favorite part. So that makes me really happy, because cartography is my favorite part too.
Yeah, I think that sort of shines through in the story, is that you know what you're talking about and that you love talking about it. And I don't think it sounds like a science journal at all.
Okay,
as an ex-scientist myself, I know how boring they can be. No, it was very good. Yeah, and the reviews for it, I've really enjoyed getting the reviews in for this one. I get to read all of the reviews, and these have all been lovely and positive. Yeah,
I know you're never supposed to read your reviews, but I can't stop. I've got a problem.
Well, with the ones that I put out, I make sure I always vet all of our reviews. We don't get bad reviews, so we're very lucky. Like honestly, we haven't had a bad one where I thought, oh, I can't put that up. But yeah, I always make sure that I sort of, because I know like authors don't like to read the reviews. It's like, okay, well, if I've posted it, then they will know that it's okay to read because it's delightful. But yeah, we've been very lucky with all of our books. Because we choose excellent authors, and Lottie and Gwen are excellent editors. So
yes, yeah.
And the team at FFG as well. Katrina is just like just crazy knowledgeable.
She is a sage. I can't tell you how many weird questions I sent her in the just in the odd hours of the morning. Like, hey, does Rokugan have a magnetic north? How do they have compasses? What do they do?
Yeah.
So how big is it?
Yeah. So she's amazing. I love talking to her.
She's super helpful. Yeah.
So let's see, what else have we got? So were there any stories or authors or even like non-literary influences that helped with this novel, that bar obviously your masters?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, you can't really throw a stone without hitting Akira Kurosawa and his oeuvre movies. It was fun to be able to rewatch, Seven Samurai and Yojimbo and all of his, I don't want to call them chambara flicks, but samurai historical epics, and as research.
Yes.
So I'm sitting there, and my partner's like, "Are you, you're watching Seven Samurai?" I'm doing research. So yeah. So and then I sort of binge watch a lot of Japanese taiga dramas, which is like a historical drama that the NHK puts out every year. So Soriyoma Den about Sakamoto Ryoma, Inaltora about Inaltora, and that sort of thing. I enjoyed that to sort of mix the Bakumatsu and the Sengoku politics and whatnot. And then a bunch of Japanese authors like Katsuko Kichi. He wrote Musui's story. Well, it's a biographical account. It's I think Teruko Craig translated. It's one of the best. I would recommend it to everybody who's interested in Japanese and samurai. It gives sort of it's just a samurai writing about his day-to-day life, and it's very eye-opening. So that's pretty fun. And then Natsume Soseki, Okamoto Kido, and Japanese writers, and Ji Yun, who's a Chinese historian. Yi Yu did a really good translation. I think it's called The Shadow Book of Ji Yun, and it's just this book full of sort of creepy stories that he collected from his work. He was the governmental person in charge for investigating X-Files stuff, like the paranormal in early modern China. So it's a really interesting book.
Get some of these links, and I'll put them in the underneath the video, so people, if they didn't get that, some of those I did not get.
I'll send you links for all of them. They're lovely, lovely book. Just a lot.
Yes, which is nice. I like that there's just outside of, even though it's a book as part of a game series, its influences are not just from that game, and that sort of shows in the writing, which is that's something that I always love to hear, is that it's not just this one thing, which means that we can pull people in from other places who maybe haven't played the game but will still enjoy the writing. So very nice to hear. So how much time do you spend researching before you start a book, or are you researching continuously whilst you're writing? Or
I am both. I think I spent maybe 2 weeks or so just rereading through all the more recent L5R books, just so I refamiliarized myself with the setting, because there's so much. I don't want to say there's a lot of changes edition to edition, but they definitely made some. The Fantasy Flight people made a bunch of changes, and then it's sort of it's a different game in a lot of ways, at least setting wise. Removing sort of a lot of the Japanese loan words, and focusing on the fortunes and whatnot. So I read through those, and then I rewatched all the Akira Kurosawa movies that I loved, and that And I reread a couple books on Japanese cartography. So about 2 weeks. But then I guess I'm also doing research, like, oh, this is pretty cool. I'm going to go look into this.
Yeah.
So.
What's your work schedule like when you're writing? Are you just like head down, write it, or are you like, I write X amount of words a day and then I'm call it a day?
I write. I've got a full-time job and a 5-year-old, so I write as much as I can when I can. A lot of times I'm doing it late at night or early in the morning, or he doesn't nap anymore, so that was. He did nap when I was writing the novel, so that was an hour I could get to myself to write. But it's pretty hectic. You just squeeze in as much as you can.
I'm always amazed when I talk to authors and they're like, yeah, I've got a full-time job and kids. It's like, how do you do this? I have a dog and a full-time job, and at the end of the day, I'm like, no, I can't do anything.
There's a lot of that. It's a very sort of, I want to call it manic depressive, where I'll sit down and over the course of a week I'll write 10, 20,000 words, and then I'm like, I can't touch this again for another few days. I just get it too much into my own head. So,
do you have any writing quirks? Anything that you must have, like, or mustn't have around you whilst you're writing?
I know a lot of authors like listen to music while they write, and I listen to music when I write, but the same album over and over again. So it helps me get in the mindset. Like, okay, here's my writing music. Here's the writing music for this specific book. Like, I'll pick out an album that I think sort of exemplifies, or an album or two, and then I'll just put it on. And then as soon as I hear that, like, it's like sort of Pavlovian, where my brain sort of kicks in, and I am able to start actually, writing and thinking about it. For this, it was, I think, Philip Glass's Mishima, and then Takenobu's Momotaro album. Takemoto's a really beautiful cellist who does a lot of Japanese-inspired and American roots-inspired music. So I can put links for. I can send you links for those as well.
Please, yeah, I would love to have these links, just so one, I can have a look at them, but also for anyone watching at a later date, because they are on video on demand as well. They can go in.
The music can't have words though. If anyone's singing, then I can't pay attention to what I'm writing. It has to be just music. It can't no vocals.
Yeah, I did always wonder about that, because I wouldn't be able to. If someone was singing, I'd just be singing along, and then all of a sudden my book is the lyrics.
That's the problem.
Like, even when I'm working, here in the office, like, silence is what I prefer, or like, just a little bit of repetitive, like, noise with no words. Otherwise, I'd just be writing lyrics for everyone. So that comes to the end of our questions about the book, which is amazing. I'm going to show you the cover again. Here we go. Here it is, To Chart the Clouds. Woo! I'm going to put a link in the comments as well for anyone. But you can follow it if you want to buy the book, because it is out now in ebook and in the US, and it comes to the UK in April. So if you are in the UK, in the EU, you can get it in April. Otherwise, it's available now to everyone. You also wrote a short story for us in The Devourer Below. Oh, I forgot to look. Oh, here's the other book as well. The Devourer Below, which is Running the Night Whiskey, which I turned into an RPG because I really loved the short story, and I was like, "This is perfect."
That was an awesome RPG. I'm really excited you did that. That's one of the coolest things, is when you write something and somebody else sees something in it and then is like, "Oh, that's really fun," and gets to.
And everyone I played it with was like, "This is really good. This is a really good story. How did you come up with it?" I was like, "I can take 0 credit for coming up with this story."
Oh no! Don't sell yourself short. You did. I read through it. It was great.
Yeah, but I stole most of just your words. It's like, oh, that's a perfect word. I'm gonna put that sentence in it. But yeah, it was really good fun, and the story itself was a good, really nice introduction to the anthology as well. It's about bootleggers, and it's about cultists and gribbly monsters, all those good things you want from an Arkham horror story. Which setting do you prefer, the Rokugan or the Arkham horror 1920s thing?
It's like asking someone to choose which children they like best. I would say, by temperament and interests, I said Rokugan, but only marginally. I very much enjoy the sort of 1920s, bootlegger Prohibition era, two-fisted Cthulhu of the Devourer and Arkham Horror. It's just a fun setting to write in with sort of flappers and moles and criminals and all sorts of people, coppers, bulls, and it was fun. I guess the worry is to try it. You want to make. I was watching Boardwalk Empire at the time, which is an HBO series about that era. So it was really, really fun to sort of pivot that into a story. It was, I just enjoyed it a lot.
Yes, and you're also writing a yet unannounced book for us.
I am.
So we will be announcing what it is at the end of March. But do you want to give us a little slither of a teaser of what we might be looking for? What's going to happen? What have we got?
Okay, I'd say, it includes all 7 clans. So there are characters from all 7 clans, and I can't give away the plot or the premise without giving away the book, but I
think that's enough.
Yeah.
First book with all 7 clans in it coming to your eyeballs in the fall, and we will have more details about it at the end of March, which is very exciting.
Yeah,
yes,
I'm neck deep in it, so I'm excited. It's been a lot of fun to write. So it's interesting to juggle so many balls.
I'm really excited for this one because obviously I've been talking to Lottie about it, and we've been preparing for our sales presentations and stuff, and I'm just like, this is going to be a really good one. So, hello, Christopher. Hello. Yes. This book. So the next one will be coming out in autumn. Yes, the fall. I'm talking in publisher's language. Stick your tongue out at me. I'm rude. Yes, in the fall or autumn, as in the UK we would say. Though in the UK, it won't be coming out in autumn. It will be coming out in spring because of the 2-month waits between books coming out at the moment here in the UK. So before we go, have you got anything else to plug? Anything else that you're working on outside of the Aconite world?
I'm working on a number of stuff, a lot of stuff for Black Library, short stories. I have another novella currently in edits, and I just started working on a novel for them as well. So keep your eyes out for that if you like Age of Sigmar stuff. I've got some actual short stories, but they're all horror stories, and they're coming out in like the No Sleep podcast and things like that. So they should be popping up eventually. But yeah,
that's very cool. Wonderful. So lots of exciting things coming up, which is very nice to hear. Final question before I close the stream. If you lived in Rokugan, what clan would you be a part of?
Oh, Crane, 100%. 100%. I like they're the mean girls of the Rokugan setting. So I just like I need help with fashion, but I just like the sort of cattiness of the Crane, where it's not what you do, it's how you appear while you're doing it. Yes. So it's I've always been a fan, and like I said, I love court drama, and they are 100% that.
Yes.
So
yes, and so I also love our Daijoji Shin mystery novels that writes, and they're Crane because Shin is Crane, and I just love his sort of the way that he presents himself based on what he actually wants and what he means, and it's they're.
I was talking earlier about I haven't been able to sign a lot of books because of COVID. So the only books I've signed is for like my mother and my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law enjoyed my book, and she asked if there's any more L5R books she can read, and I just gave her the first Daijoji Shin book. So I think she'll enjoy that. And I said, if you like this, there's 2 more. So hopefully I've made another Josh Reynolds fan, because I'm a huge Josh Reynolds fan.
Yes. Oh yes. It's so prolific with his writing as well. It's just like finishes one and there's another one, and you're like, oh, hello.
Inspirational, I will say.
Right, well, we're going to call it there for today. Thank you to people in chat for coming along, saying hello. Those of you that did, Christopher, I see you there, laughing at me, rude. But yes, thank you everyone for coming along. We will be back in 2 weeks' time, and we will be talking to Thomas Parrott about his new book, which is the Tom Clancy's The Division Recruited, which I have just finished reading. So yes, we will be talking to him about that one, which is very exciting. But yes, until then, we shall see you later. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye.